Hey, everybody. This is the Sin Cara edition of Cageside Live. We're just
that was perfect. The Sin Cara.
We're going to Sin Cara. We're just going to do that until one of you steps up and makes us stop.
That's right. They wanted us back, is why we're here.
I know. I
counted. I said when we get to 45 different asks to bring the show back, we'd come back. And this is what you get now. All right, let's stop it.
All right.
What's up, Sean?
How are you?
Not much. What's wrong?
I don't know.
Are you still struck? Is this our first time on the air?
Yes,
since
it was a different world when we podcasted last week. Yes. It was. I'm not even joking.
It really was. That's not funny. I'm laughing to conceal the pain. It was a lot different world. It's.
I had my little "I voted" sticker on. I was all proud. Yeah.
Do we talk about it?
No. I don't really want to, but we can. I don't care.
I mean, we don't have to, I guess. I don't know. It's a little, what I do think is funny, a lot of people are like, I just can't believe it happened. Fuck do you mean? I can't believe hate won. Why? Hate always wins. That's like the point. We've talked about this. The psychotic people, the psychos will always win. They have to. They can't accept anything other than victory. This should not be a surprise. But the world is not over, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree. I think my whole feeling on all of this is, and I was not in the greatest mental place before the election.
Right.
And so since I've just gone through like waves of like despair and anger. And I keep telling myself, and I see it going on Twitter and Facebook, and I feel like it's still too raw. We're not going to solve anything yet. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it.
You have been very. You've been a different Sean for a few months now. I've noticed.
I am not. We talk about all this shit on here. I suffer from depression, and it has not been the best couple months for me. I haven't been feeling much of anything, which is a bad sign for me. So yeah. That's sort of where I've been at, and then yeah.
And then the world happened, and
the world happened, and the fucking Steelers can't pick up a goddamn W, and everything sucks. So
and the Cubs won the World Series, and.
That's small potatoes in my mind at this point. But.
Yeah. I've stopped calling it the year of our Lord 2016 because it's the year of Satan. Yeah, life is hard and things suck, and wrestling is supposed to be a good escape, and all too often it is not that. What'd you think?
It can be. I don't know. It's all right. I thought this was all right. The two big things that they tried to do on this episode of Raw, I thought they did. So, hat tip to Vince McMahon.
I thought they did the things that they were trying to do, which sounds dumb, but I mean, for them,
a lot of times they don't do the things they're trying to do.
It's a pretty big success on their part if they can just accomplish the goal they set out to accomplish, but I thought they did that. The question is just whether or not you're entertained by them doing that. Like, the Brock and Goldberg stuff, it was very clearly... Goldberg is the good guy, and we're going to get that across by having it. We're going to hammer on the family angle, because how do you boo that, right? And then the only way really to get Brock booed in this situation is to constantly tease the confrontation everybody wants, which is the actual physical altercation, and constantly have him be the reason it doesn't happen. And so they did those things. And sure enough, Goldberg is getting cheered, and Lesnar's getting booed. I just don't know how much I care. I just don't know how much – I don't know. I'm not that entertained by it. And they've relied a little too much on Goldberg saying words.
See this, and I joked about it on Twitter, but I'm legitimately serious. I've talked about this on here. if what Paul Heyman is doing is still working for you, God bless. But I have been over his shtick since about I don't know. When was the promo after he broke the streak? That was like the last time I really enjoyed a Paul Heyman promo. So
Yeah.
the fact it was cheap. It was it was kind of a meta version of cheap pop. But having him to continue to tell Paul Heyman to shut up every time he tried to talk made me a fan. So that worked for me.
In Sean's ideal world, there would be you would hear "ladies and gentlemen," and then a gunshot would ring out.
I don't want to see the man die or anything, but I liked Goldberg just going, "Shut up." I don't know. That's the 13-year-old boy in me too. Like,
and it was like, and Heyman doing the thing where it's like, the chants are getting to him, and it's in service of trying to get the chants over, which is also in service of trying to get Goldberg over, whatever. I get all that. It just came off annoying for me. Do you think that was at all like a
callback to Minneapolis, like where he pretended to be derailed but he wasn't?
I think so.
Or am I just thinking too much about it?
I think it's like what we were gonna do there. Let's do that here, except they'll be in the same ring. I don't know. And then I'm worried about Bill. He was on Good Morning Football.
I saw you tweet this. Yeah,
he did. He was on Good Morning Football. I was watching it before we got on here. He was literally sitting in the chair, just talking regularly, no different than we are now, sweating profusely. His face was beet red. It looked like he just got off a treadmill. Like he was wearing a lot of clothing, mind you, and maybe it was hot in the building that they were in the little studio. And someone on Twitter even was like, well, don't underestimate the lights in that studio. Like, okay, but no one else on the fucking set is sweating profusely. He's almost 50.
Let me think. And who else do you know who's approaching 50 who you make fun of for coming on podcast sweaty? I'm telling you, man, age is a motherfucker.
You're not. No, here's the thing though, is what's shitty about it though is like we saw someone come out who's a little older on Raw after being away for a long time, attempt to do physical things and look very labored doing so, who tried to go home the next day and had, what was it, a heart attack that he had? Something.
We're talking about Warrior?
Died. We're talking about Warrior. He doesn't look, go watch the Warrior thing.
Yeah, but.
He looked bad, but not too bad. Goldberg looks great, but just because you look like you're in shape doesn't mean your heart's not fucked up.
But Brock's out there sweating his ass off every time we see him, too, and he turns purple 2 minutes into every match.
That's worrisome. Why do you look this way? Like you're not supposed to. Like, there's something to that, like, right? There has to be. I just don't feel comfortable with the idea that, like, and Brock is a big fucking bastard, man. Like, he's going to throw Goldberg, and Goldberg is sweaty and old. I just don't.
I don't know what you're talking about. Bill Goldberg ran through what were there, like 8 and 10 security guards? I mean, those guys, they were hired, they were professionals. Paul Heyman put them over as men in uniform. They were this is like a crack team of like Navy SEALs and shit that they put together. And Goldberg just threw them around like nobody's business. So I don't know what you're talking about. If I was Brock, I'd be scared because this man obviously is a weapon of mass destruction, and that's not good news.
When he clotheslined the one dude over the top rope, I was certain he was going with him, and it would have been the best thing.
I thought he was too.
He'd have landed and sprained his ankle.
Did nobody ever gift the Lesnar slip? I haven't seen it anywhere.
Think to look for that. We can only see like the top of your head, by the way.
Oh, and that's the way I like it.
If you care, there you go. I love the one strand that falls over your forehead. Like, that's really sexy to me.
That's my soccer mom haircut. That is yeah.
We need to find that GIF, though. You're right. That he finally slipped. That's probably happened before, but I can't remember it. Like, he almost actually fucking slipped and fell over and didn't make it up on the apron, which maybe he knew what was coming and was like, I'm sick of this shit. Why am I even here? Like, I just don't have any purpose at all. And it's kind of, it's played out by now. The Heyman promos are definitely played out. It's the same thing with a slight variance in each one. The Heyman promos are played out since he stole a joke we gave him on Twitter. The knock-knock joke. Yeah, and then Brock shows up and he just bounces and looks tough, and Heyman says things, and then nothing happens. Like, I don't know. Part of the problem with WWE right now is the deeply uninspired storytelling.
Well, I think this gets to, like, we were talking about this in the orifices.
Love those orifices.
You know, your criticism of the show is that, you know, their storytelling is uninspired, like you just said, and I guess that's part of that argument is because there's no stakes to anything, and that's the Brock problem. Is they sort of made us care about the Taker feud for a little bit last fall, kind of maybe, but other than that, he hasn't had a purpose since Rollins cashed in on Reigns and he exited the title picture, right? I mean, he's just there to show up and jog in place and then suplex a dude like once every 3 months.
Jog in place.
And that's not that exciting. I mean,
really...
they're not even bothering to do the shit where he like Incredible Hulks up and throws car doors into the stands anymore. I mean, at least that was like a holy shit spectacle kind of thing. Now we don't even get that.
Yeah,
the fact that you suplex a dude a lot is not that exciting anymore. It's
also very there's a Godzilla quality to this, where you know the not the '98 version. That's a good example. We're getting the 1998 Godzilla movie with that douchebag.
With Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, with that guy who's awful.
Well, that's Ferris Bueller. I like that. He's not awful in every way. Come on now.
He killed a guy.
What are you talking about?
Matthew Broderick, didn't he kill a guy and get away with it?
I don't think so.
You're like, what are you
I don't know. Did you read this on Facebook right next to how Donald Trump's going to save America? Or what are you talking about?
I believe everything I see on Facebook.
Well, that's true.
The 98 version, which overexposed the shit out of Godzilla, and the creature looked dumb, and they did a lot of really stupid stuff. Whereas the 2014 version of the movie really knew... The appeal of it always was that, like, Godzilla.
He apparently had. I don't want to interrupt you, but apparently he was in an auto accident in Ireland where some people died. I don't know if that means like he's a fucking cold-blooded murderer.
I thought there was more to it than that. I could have swore I read something. I don't want to say that he's a killer when he's not. I'm not like whatever. Like I'm not trying to.
Hopefully he doesn't feel good about it. I don't know. I don't know. Driving a rented BMW in Northern Ireland, crossed into the wrong lane and collided head-on with a Volvo driven by blah, blah, blah. Both killed instantly.
Oh, geez, that sucks.
He was vacationing with Jennifer Grey of Dirty Dancing fame.
Ooh.
So there's some...
Great movie, Dirty Dancing.
Roderick told authorities he had no recollection of the crash and didn't know why he was in the wrong lane. So maybe he was drunk. I don't know. Maybe he had a blackout kind of thing.
That sucks.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like it was any sort of like...
We have really...
situation.
Yeah, that's oh.
Here I am.
I'm sad I brought that up now.
Yeah, that's. I'm
just sad I brought that up because we have personal experience with that, and that's
Yep. I mean, it doesn't say. To be clear, I mean, first of all, that's just Wikipedia, so who the fuck knows? Second of all, it doesn't say that he's drunk. That was just me speculating on a hypothesis as I read it. So apparently. So he was behind the wheel when an accident happened where some people died. So that's the Matthew Broderick story.
Either way, anyway, the 2014 Godzilla was, what did it take, like an hour before Godzilla even showed up on screen?
The one with Bryan Cranston?
Yeah, they made you wait for the monster. Yep. And they made the monster into, like, it was a really big deal when he showed up.
Yep.
And they didn't overexpose him too much, and they made it wasn't like he was running around New York hiding under like Godzilla was hiding under a building and shit. Like, and like where is Target? And it just like underneath is crouching and grabs a helicopter. Like, get the fuck out. Like, that's where Brock Lesnar is the 2016 version of Brock Lesnar is 1998 Godzilla. The only thing I remember about that version was the 2014 Godzilla.
Right. The 1998 version, all I remember is like, it was like, wasn't he like created by like evil French scientists or something?
I don't know.
That's the dumbest shit ever. Because I mean, you can do evil American scientists, evil Japanese scientists, evil Russian
people aren't evil at all.
French people are too busy getting drunk and cheating on their wives to do anything. And that's a shoot. And I know Lord Bond is probably listening to this, and he can back me up on that. So
that's probably a super offensive thing to say, but I don't think we care that much about super offensive things to say. Yeah, it's you know what the joke was at the. So I had a party here at the house for the Conor McGregor fight, and the joke at the house for everyone that came over was everyone would say super offensive shit, and then immediately go, "No, it's okay. Trump's president. Everything's fine. Like it's all okay to do." Yeah, and that's
It's the
horrible
Joey
because
Styles defense.
it's the Joey. What'd you think of that? Let's talk about that real quick. What did you?
Well, I'm halfway through. I don't know if you've seen. Mickey James wrote this. I'm halfway through the post on it, but we had to jump on the air. She wrote a big, like, sort of defense of him.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's
what I would just say is, I don't know. Did you watch the show at all?
I did watch I didn't watch the show.
Have you seen him on Evolve at all? I mean, he's not very good at his job anymore. Is what I would say. I mean, so. What Gabe is saying is, I told him not to do it, and he did it. And if you watch the clip, it's not like he slipped. I mean, he very clearly, premeditatedly says, "I'm about to do this." Yeah. So on that grounds, I mean, your boss can fire you for that. I don't think that's ridiculous. And like the position that Gabe takes on it is not unlike the debate we had in the orifices, where I was of the opinion that it was better to just not mention Trump at all on the site, and you were like, "No, it's news," and that's fine. I mean, that's a legit debate to have, but in this situation, it would be like if you told me, we had that debate in the offices, and you were like, "It's news, I'm running it," and I was like, "I disagree," and then you posted it, and I went behind you and secretly deleted it. You would be within your right to fire me, right? And so that's what ended up going on down here, is that he and Gabe had a discussion, and Gabe said, "Don't do it," and he said, "Okay," and then he went out there and did it as part of his, like, "I'm a live wire shooting" gimmick, and that's stupid. I mean. Yeah. But I understand, like, the people who are upset about it as it being offensive. It goes to, like, the story you were telling about your party, and, like, a long conversation I had with my goddaughter last Thursday night when we went to dinner, where she was like, "Well, now I kind of feel like, if guys do that shit to women, it's okay because that's what 50% of the country just said, and it's okay. So if you didn't want to be reminded of that, even outside of the context of the election, if you didn't want to be reminded of that 4 days after the election, I don't blame you for feeling like offended and sort of, borderline violated by it either, as a fan."
It's really difficult to talk about these things, and I think that's the biggest reason to just not go there, right? Is if you're opening a big ass can of worms by attempting to do this at all, or bring this into the discussion or anything with wrestling. So I think Gabe was right to say, look, don't do this. We have people are probably coming here trying to get away from that shit. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show, like it's supposed to be, an escape, and all too often it's not, just because it's shitty, but I wouldn't want WWE to do that kind of stuff, if only because there's really no place for it. It's a different can of worms as far as, I don't know. It'd be interesting to talk about as far as, I see a lot of stuff, even in the wrestling world, where it's everyone, of course, is talking about it. Is it offensive? Yeah. Am I personally offended? Not at all. Like, right. I don't give a shit. Like, it doesn't bug me. Apparently he apologized to her and she wasn't upset.
Right. That's what he says, but he also says that Jeremy Botter wasn't upset, who tweeted him like a minute later and said, "Yes, I was."
Yeah. People are fucking liars. And I got accused of being a liar today on the robbery and agenda driven. But,
you are. You and your fucking agenda. Whatever it is.
Man. Still don't know what the agenda is.
That's what's so frustrating about you, is I know you're pushing it, but I don't know what it is.
You've got an agenda. I'll tell you when I figure it out. But I wasn't. You almost want to say there's a slippery slope, but I've even had some trouble with, like what you said, is like 50% of the country just voted that that's okay. And that's not a true statement, right? That's not, like, in a sense, kind of.
Right,
but like a lot of those people didn't vote. A lot of those people voted understanding that's horrible and awful, and I hate that it was said, hate that it was done, or that maybe they made an excuse for it. Like, it was just, it was two dudes. He's talking to some guy on a bus at the time, and it's, it's a couple guys acting like, a certain way that many, many men have acted. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying all men are this way. I'm not saying it's cool. I'm not. I'm just saying that's discourse that you would see and hear many, many places. I'm not going to call it locker room talk. That's just the case. But I don't think people are like, that's what I want in the office. If they voted for him, that doesn't mean they're saying that's okay. But at the same time,
I disagree, but that's probably not the place for a.
Well,
to
your point, and I certainly didn't vote for him, but to your point, at the same time, you do get that. right? Like that, if you vote for him, that's part of what you're bringing in. So by voting for him, you're accepting it. It's not necessarily an endorsement.
You're at least saying that whatever your reason for voting for him is, your pocketbook or whatever is more important than
there you go.
That stuff.
That's fair.
Which
Totally
I have a problem with, but I understand. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I
agree. And I certainly agree with that. But as far as bringing it into, you said it was a joke. It's not funny. There's nothing funny about it at all. I don't know that it did anything to get heat on anybody. I mean, the crowd reacted like, ooh, and ECW would have beaten this into the ground.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that I don't watch Evolve as consistently as Rev does and a lot of other Cagesiders do, but I've been checking in on the promotion since it started. Like, I have the DVDs of some of the first shows. It's never been an ECW-esque promotion. Its whole shtick is that this is about the competition. Their big factions are not factions, they're groups of guys that train together. It's like an MMA camp. So this is not the place for somebody to come in and go, I'm going to be edgy or I'm going to shoot. That's not what it's about. So it's a bad fit for that, which, I mean, is not cause to be fired, but it's, it doesn't help your cause for like, oh, well, here's why I thought this joke was good for business. That argument doesn't work either.
Do you agree with the decision of pretty much, he's been blacklisted essentially in wrestling right now? Do you agree with that as a decision?
I mean, I'm not running a promotion, so I don't know. I mean, if you feel like that's a bad fit for your audience, I don't think he should be blacklisted, and I don't think he will be. I bet he works with House of Hardcore again, the Tommy Dreamer promotion, because that's where that kind of stuff is a decent fit too. Like, you can do that. You can run that gimmick with Bubba Ray and Tommy Dreamer in the ring. That's the deal. So I think it makes sense for Gabe to fire him because he just disregarded a direct order, for lack of a better way of phrasing it. I think it definitely makes sense for Chikara to fire him because their whole thing is like, I mean, the audiences chant holy poop instead of holy shit. So, and it's consistent with what Quack's done. He blacklisted Kevin Steen for saying fuck in the ring. He's not bringing Phoenix back because he swore in Spanish during a promo at King of Trios. So that fits. I mean, I don't know if every indie in the world needs to make a stand over this, but if you run the promotion, it's your call.
Well, to go back to your earlier example, so for some behind the scenes stuff, I ran the post of that when Trump won the election. We debated in the Cageside offices. I asked everyone for their input, what they thought. My idea all along was, if he wins, we have to do a post on it. He's a fucking WWE Hall of Famer. He wins the presidency. Like, that's something we post about. And, who agrees, who doesn't, please voice your opinion. I'd like to hear what everybody has to say in the Cageside orifices. And Sean was vehemently against it. Very against it. Couldn't be more against it. Didn't like it at all. Voiced this multiple times, and even on the day of, where I'm like, all right, I'm going to run this. It's like, I just one more time like to say I don't think you should. Now, to your example, if I had done that, and you had backdoored me and deleted it, do you think you should be fired for something like that?
I think you'd be within your rights to fire me, yeah.
But do you think that should be the case?
I don't know. I mean, bless you. I think it depends entirely on, like, other things at that point too, because there's other ways you could, like, sanction somebody, right? You could you could refuse to pay him for that show. You could refuse to.
My next question.
You could dock me a week's pay. I mean, so it depends on, is there some sort of pattern of behavior? Like with you and me, I would like to think that even if I had a fucking brain fart and decided to do something openly disrespectful and insubordinate like that, maybe our multiple years of history leading up to it would cause you to say, okay, Sean just freaked out in a passionate moment. I'm going to, suspend him for a week and knock him some pay or something instead of firing him. Or also, I mean, that there's the factor of, is Sean easy to replace? I don't really have anybody right now, so even though I'd like to fire his ass, I'm going to hold on to him and make sure the site keeps running smoothly. In the case of Evolve, like I said, it's been a short relationship. It has not looked like a good fit from day one. And
there's the new flow deal.
There's no need for that role even. You can get anybody else to do that. They've got a great play-by-play guy in Lenny Leonard. You can have somebody else go out there and do interviews that you don't have to worry about them going off script or off topic. So, that's a risk-reward thing. I mean, could he have suspended or fired him? Sure, or fined him? Sure, but what's the point in that if it wasn't a good fit anyway, and this is the straw that broke the camel's back?
There's a new flow deal to worry about. I mean, they've got a lot of things to consider. If you're curious, I would not fire you for that. I don't even know that you'd get in trouble. We'd have to talk, of course, because that you can't do that kind of stuff. But
Right.
yeah, it wouldn't be there. I wouldn't fire someone for doing something like that.
Well, I wouldn't do something like that. I mean, we talked about it, like you said. We had an editorial difference of opinion.
Yeah.
You were the boss, and you made the call, and I respected that. So,
and I tried to keep it as simple as could be, not editorial.
I don't know. In retrospect, it was probably the right call. I mean, I don't.
Didn't do it in the numbers.
It was my personal opinion that even though it is news, that I don't think you were like breaking news. Like everybody who saw that knew that Donald Trump was president. Probably knew that he was a Hall of Famer. It's
a question of.
I know.
What should we? Well, yeah, I don't disagree necessarily, and I invite the conversation. I mean, I'd like to think that the kind of boss I am is. I mean, I frequently ask people their opinions in the Cageside offices, and I from everybody. I solicit everyone to be like, hey, what do you think about this? Let's, how do you think we should handle it? It's not just me like, this is what we're doing, everybody shut the fuck up. It's always, what do you guys think? Hey, Canaanite, what do you think? Decker, Rev, everybody. But back to Evolve and all that stuff and Styles, it's a question of what should be allowed on. That's a whole other debate. I mean, what should be allowed to be used to get heat, to get people over? What kind of things can you put on TV? And storylines, what do you use for wrestling angles? I'm hesitant to put a cap on it anywhere, but I recognize that there are places you probably shouldn't go. I think the bigger issue is, to me, the bigger issue is that he said it when he was told not to.
Right. Not
that he tried something. I think try it. I don't mind it. I don't mind that he did it. It wasn't funny. It's absolutely poor taste, but that was the point.
Right.
Like, that's the idea. You know what I mean? Like, you're outraged. You should be. That's a good thing that you're outraged.
Some of that goes. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, some of that goes to, like, it's a conversation that I know we've had and a lot of wrestling fans have had over the years about, like, the way WWE portrays baby faces. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, there's a place for maybe an offensive joke that pushes the boundaries of good taste and everything, but in that scenario, Styles is supposed to be the good guy. So why is he bringing? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the joke didn't land on any number of levels, but that's one of them. I mean, if he's this tyrannical heel announcer who's out there just making fun of people and stuff like that, then maybe it fits a little bit better than he's supposed to be. Stokely is the bad guy in that scenario, and he's trying to use it to, call him a pussy.
Call him a pussy. That was the big thing. Like, just call him a way to get to that. Yeah, just call him that. And then people are real mad about that too. Like, you can't, you're calling him a pussy, and that's a bad thing to do too, because it means, this and how you think of these things. And I don't know. That's a discussion. It's tough, man, when you get into like what people can and can't say, and what you can and can't, what is or isn't offensive to people, and what's good or not good for the discussion. I don't know. I mean, to me, there always has to be the idea. Again, it's none of it's real. He doesn't actually feel this way. He's not actually. I don't know, man. You can't bring certain stuff into it, certainly, but at the same time, I don't like capping
not to. I mean,
I don't like capping it. I want you to get heat. Like, I want there to be, I want to feel something. We've talked about this so many times. Like, it's the only reason I really like Eva Marie is because people hate her so much. Like, just a deep hatred for everything she represents in life, to the point that it even maybe spills over into their own real worlds, where they think of her as a human being in a negative way. Like, I think that's good for the medium that we're watching. It's the art form that we like. That's the shit that gets me. It's the emotion of it. And I want you to say some shit that's going to piss me off. And you're not going to make me mad by saying, I want my brand to beat your brand. Yeah. I want the bragging rights. And I'm like, fuck yeah, go SmackDown. Cool, but I don't know. I'd rather they push it. I'd rather he make a shitty-ass joke like that and everyone hate his guts, and rightfully so. He should be hated because he said some shitty stuff. But I guess the election is a good backdrop to show that, half the people are going to like you despite that. Half the people are going to cheer it.
Yeah.
And that sucks. You can't trust people to be decent is the problem. Like, I guess, right? I mean, you can't.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
I
know
mean,
that he should have been fired. That feels excessive.
I don't know either, and that's one of the things like the Mickey James thing that I'm going to post on as soon as we get off is, and that's, I mean, she does say that she didn't find it offensive and that it wouldn't have bothered her, but part of her thing is like she doesn't think it's right that everybody is using this as an excuse to pile on Joey Styles at this point, which I think is a valid point. Like you said, I don't know, I don't think this is grounds for blacklisting. I think people can make mistakes and come back from them, and you know. I did. I mean, his apology letter wasn't the most contrite thing I've ever read. I would have liked for him to just say, I fucked up, sorry, and bowed out. But, you know, I don't think it's a reason for him to, like, not be able to earn in the business ever again.
Yeah,
I mean,
there are ways to go about that. And I don't think that everyone...
And I don't think it will mean that. I think once people calm down, I mean, I don't think he'll work... I don't think he'll work for Chikara. The only thing I'm sure of is that he won't work for Chikara again. I'm not even sure he won't work for Gabe again. I mean, they've got history. I mean, Gabe was learning at Heyman's, shoulder when Joey was the voice of ECW. So they may calm down and decide to do business again later.
And the idea is not to be a beacon of light in a morally corrupt world. Their idea is to make money. Let's not confuse what these promotions really are. Maybe Chikara can take that road. Their idea of stuff.
I admire what Chikara does. I like, the position that Quack's put out there, but that's a branding decision for him too. He decided a long time ago that they were going to be the anti-ECW. They were not going to do, any bra and panties matches. They were not going to have swearing in the ring, all those things. So he's adhering to what he sees as his vision for his company too. It's not purely, the line gets blurred there where it's a moral stance, but it's also a business stance. He's not deciding, he doesn't run a product where Joey Styles would fit right in and he's all of a sudden deciding that he's never going to hire Joey Styles again.
Yeah. So, I don't know. There's a lot of it that it's just tough to talk about even because there's so many competing interests. There's conflict of interests across the board with everybody too. And I don't know, the outrage stuff gets to me sometimes.
Yeah, we've discussed that on here too. I don't think, and this is where I sort of am with the post-election stuff. It's like nobody's changing anybody's mind with their passionately written Facebook post.
You know what they're doing?
They're never doing that. But
they're creating panic.
Yeah.
I've seen on Twitter, I see Twitter, people if you didn't know better, you'd think the fucking world is ending tomorrow. And that maybe it's not necessarily an exaggeration, but a lot of these people, you are not the people who I just don't, a leader or someone to be listening to, or you need the person who's calm in crisis. Someone who, when the shit goes down, they keep their head about them. And they're not just oh my God, everything's over. I can't believe this. Oh my God, this is the worst. Let's all band together and panic and cry about it. Do that if that's what you need to do. I'm not telling you how to feel about a big event that has very real consequences for all of us. I'm not telling you how to do that, but it's also, I don't know how much it's helping to the grand scheme when that's what you say you want to do. You're not helping me. You're just scaring me a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. Holy shit. I don't keep up with politics all that much. And now it's now I really need to, because there's this guy there. And I wonder how it affects people like us, people in media. The media, either you're working for him or maybe you're fucked, Gawker type situations and stuff. And that's our job. That's how I pay my bills. So it's scary to me to think of what that could be, but it just gets scarier when I'm online and I'm reading people trying to scare me even more by talking about how fucked everything is, instead of here's how we can maybe the right things.
It's true. I'm trying to figure out, because I do think that this is I don't know. I don't want to get too political here, but this is,
do it. It's our show.
Yeah, this to me is different from George W. Bush, who I had the privilege of not voting for in 4 straight elections because I lived in Texas. This guy is he has the potential to really sort of change the way this country runs.
Badly damaged things, yes.
And what it stands for. So I do think it's important. Part of me wants to, you've got to balance taking care of yourself and wanting to sort of stick your head in the sand and turn off Twitter and turn off Facebook and just try to recenter yourself with the fact that, holy shit, this could be really bad. Again, we don't know. There's a lot of signs. There's some signs that he's not going to be as bad as what his rhetoric when he was campaigning is, and that he's already backing off of some things. But there's some other signs that he's going to hand the keys to the kingdom over to some really scary people. So you've got to kind of try to balance, like, well, I want to stay, like you said, you want to stay informed. And I think, not to slam anybody, including you, but a lot of people don't pay attention except for like once every 4 years, and that doesn't help things in the long run.
No, it doesn't.
And there's also, there's a lot of politics that's local that we're all freaking out about the presidential election, but they can't tell you who their fucking city council people are. Which, those people have a big effect on your day-to-day life too. So it's a whole, and all of it is a big balancing act, and it kind of ties into like how you react to shit on Raw or whatever, because you're bringing in all your people aren't just reacting to the fact that he's elected; they're reacting to a lot of things that that have happened in their lives and things that
how it affects their world,
and So it's a tricky balancing act. But I do think that, like, for me personally, what I'm trying to do right now is back off for a little bit so that I can the real world equivalent of just a deep breath, so that I can decide what I want to do going forward to try to take care of things that matter to me.
Who will guard the guards?
Mm-hmm. Who watches the watchmen?
Who watches the watchmen? It's a scary thing to think of. The people in power are, we're supposed to, the checks and balances of, who are the people who decide that they're the ones who are like the authority on these kind of things. And there's a lot of this that, I just don't even, it's tough. Like and that's going to affect things in a big, big way. You can't trust these people is a big thing. And that's for me in my own life and things that I've gone through recently and things that have affected me. And seeing this is like seeing a peek into my own world in a way of like someone who could just lie to your face, and then you show them proof of their lying and they lie to you again.
Yep.
Everyone knows that it's a lie, but they keep going with that. And then people, like you said, people accept that. People have shown that they don't care. So it's terrifying to me to think of the fact that like these are the new watchmen. These are the new people who are in charge of the things that could really greatly affect, like you said, our day-to-day lives. And that's kind of scary to me. And you can't trust that they'll make the right decisions. You can't what is it that makes them the authority on all these things that are going to affect us? And I think it's going to, it's led to protests and death and actual real world consequences for many things. And you see that on different levels everywhere. And you see, it's just people are so hungry to be important and be taken seriously that, you see the thing going around of him in the White House with Obama, and it's like, he looks lost. And I saw a meme that was like that feeling when you apply for a job you're not qualified for, and then you get it and you don't know what to do. Like, oh shit, I'm president now. Like, I'm not qualified for this. I don't know what the hell to do. Like, it's that thing, right? Like, he wants to be important and holding these rallies and like doing these things, and he'll lie to get there. He'll say whatever he needs to get there, and that's a. And
I think it's always true. And if if Hillary had won, I think we would need to be watching her, because this isn't like an emails thing, but I just think you should watch the people in power, because power corrupts. That's a fucking truism that's always been true, and that was very articulate of me.
Yeah. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely.
But yeah, this is a guy who like bragged about not knowing what was doing, basically, in terms of government, and he's like apparently didn't know that he had to like hire people. That's like his meeting with Obama went along because he was like, oh shit, I got to do that. So that's, the possibility that government could collapse is a little scary.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know.
You can't trust what they say.
Well, like you said, yeah. This is a guy who's been confronted with lying and doubled down on the lie. So like he's He's that kind of sociopath who, when caught in a lie, will try to make you feel crazy for catching him.
Yeah.
As opposed to
Which
owning
is
up
called
to
gaslighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, here's what I said and here's what I did, and that's it. And you see this everywhere. Like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to call someone out, but I don't know if I should. But it's in the same vein.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I got asked about it, and like, I feel like I should, dude. Like, fuck it, I'm going to, because it's the same fucking thing, dude. Like, we have this in our own world, right? There's a podcast that exists specifically for the purpose of talking about wrestling media, covering wrestling media, holding journalists' legs to the fire, you know, because of how they operate and what it is that they do, right? We know the podcast I'm talking about. And this isn't getting personal, but it is personal to me. I was in a relationship with one of the people on that show, and they never disclosed this for 8 months, and never once was this said. So someone who runs one of the biggest websites in the entire wrestling fucking thing, and these people cover that, and they did cover us, including her, and never once disclosed that. And those are the people who are like the self-appointed media critics, coming after us or anyone else in the business who has actually been successful. Those are the people who are watching us just because they decided they would and people decided to listen. Like, it falls into the same thing. They're lying to you. They are lying to you. They're covering people. They make friends. And I tweeted that and people were asking. That's what I'm talking about. You can't make friends with the people you cover. Like, and then call out journalists for their bad practices. How's that not a bad practice? Like, making friends with people you cover, dating people you cover, and never disclosing this. Like, are you serious? Don't fucking come at us talking shit about us and how we cover things when you have secrets like that of your own. Don't do it. Like, it's not okay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. So those are the people.
Interest, yeah.
It's a huge conflict of interest, but those are the people who, and for some reason, people decided to listen to and decided that those were the people they would listen to as far as criticizing people in the wrestling media. You can't trust them. The biggest liars you can even imagine. Y'all have no idea the fucking secrets I have. I'm not going to tell those because that's not my thing to tell. Those are secret. They can hold that shit. They can be honest or not be honest, and they're not going to, and we know that by now. But that's the reality of that. So can you trust that? No, you fucking can't. And yet, here it is. People do. They think that somehow that's the authority on us and what we do, or other reporters and what they do, when they have their own crap. And it goes a million times deeper than that. You can't even imagine how much deeper it goes. But yet those are the people trust. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same thing. It's the trust in people who have, it's very clear you can't trust, and they trust them anyway. But that's Raw too, I guess, right? That's WWE. It's putting our trust in Vince to deliver us something that we can care about, that can matter, but they've proven that we can't trust them to do the right thing. So it's just like, it just feels hopeless. That's part of the, you're depressed, and someone emailed me asking, is Cageside in crisis? Someone actually emailed this, is Cageside in crisis? You guys seem like really upset all the time. Well, shit's fucked, I guess, right? Shit's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
But to end that, it's who's going to call out the people who call out us.
And part of the problem in wrestling is that it's such a little tiny bubble. I mean, I think, and this is part of the problem with like political discourse on social media, is that everybody's in their own little echo chamber. But in wrestling, it's even worse because we're not that. Wrestling is kind of a niche thing anyway, and then the people who care enough about it to try to learn more about it and follow it online is another small subset of that niche. And then the people who care enough to want to, watch the Watchmen, there's not a whole lot of people writing about wrestling journalism, right? Because there's not a whole lot of wrestling journalism. There's one, so it was a small pond to jump into and say, we're the authority. And who want to feel important about it, we're like, oh, great, now there's an authority. I feel even better about myself.
Yeah.
And it's all a bunch of
And then
You know,
jumped
and
on
there's
because
no,
I
like,
want to hear my name on the show. You know,
yep.
like I want to hear them talk about me. So they all made friends, and it became this big circle of everyone talking about everyone else. And that's not coverage. That's not you.
Yep.
Like you're like holding yourself as this moral authority. But like not even realizing but again, that's the moral authority, and yet your lead female is dating one of the guys who runs one of the biggest sites in the fucking whole thing, and you never disclose that fact. That's journalism. That's the good practice. Like, are you serious? And it's just like it's such bullshit. And that's the whole point of all of it. And you're making friends with these other people you quote unquote cover and bringing them on, and it's just one big circle thing, like you said. And it's we'll follow this and push them because then maybe we can look better. And it's literally one big practice of all the things you're not supposed to do. You know, we joke about it, but like, you know, what's Cageside? Am I a journalist? I mean, I guess technically because of what we do, but I've never considered that the case. But you know what one thing is that I've always done? We're a fan blog is what we really are. It gives us a lot more freedom to do things. And we can, the idea is, you know, it's the perspective that we take. Never once have we acted like a moral authority. Never once have we acted like, you know, you have to do things this way because this is the proper fucking way to do it, right? Maybe on like certain stuff like sexism. That's bad, you know, like you shouldn't be this way, right? Or wanting better things for women in the industry, or, sorry, let me turn this off, or, you know, things like that. Like, you know, even then we don't act like the moral authority. Like we admit to our faults. Like we speak openly about the things that we fuck up and are bad at. Like we're not lying to you. We never once have lied to you and acted one way and another thing been true. And it's just bullshit that for there to exist a whole thing that exists only to call out people doing that when they themselves are doing that. It just kills me. Like, and don't fucking, like, you got called out by the motherfucker who runs that, trying to call you out for like lying or some shit, or like saying something like
being unethically embedding tweets. Not that I'm keeping count,
we were stealing. Like, don't come at me and accuse me of stealing public information, shit that's public and you can embed it. Like, that's the whole point. We shared it and gave proper credit. We did nothing wrong. Nothing. But I'm just asking questions. You pull that kind of shit on a show that wholly exists, and I was told by the person in that show, who, again, you didn't disclose was with me, was, yeah, it's just a troll. He just wants the attention. That's what it all is. It's narcissism. That's Trump. It's narcissism. It's make me important. Love me. Everyone look at me. We are an authority now. We're like this thing that everyone should care about. No, you're fucking not. You actually do damage when you do stuff like that. You accuse people of stealing. You do shit like like really, dude. Like even stuff. And I try to get away from it. Right. I don't want to be a part of this shit anymore. I don't want to see that shit. Keep it away from me. But you can't escape it. It shows up, and then it's, you know, I saw. They called out Ashley Massaro. Like, I don't think this, but does her past as an escort, does that play into her, you know, maybe her claims of that she was sexually assaulted? Like, does that hurt her credibility? I'm just asking. I don't think that, but I'm just asking your opinion. That's a damaging question to ask. You know what I mean? From someone who has some secrets about their treatment of women in their own fucking past. So that's, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff that bugs the shit out of me. Like you can't say, that
it's
I'm
like
done
you don't
with
get
it. I'm
to
done
say,
with it.
well,
You don't get to
stuff,
come out and say damaging shit like that and act like it's. I'm just asking a question, or I'm just saying something that's, you know, I just want to know what you think. Like, you know what the fuck you're doing, and it's a damaging thing to do. And act like you're the authority when you are the biggest hypocrite imaginable. Just the lies. You cannot even imagine the lies. It's bullshit. And you're not going to affect what we do and our job and call us out and you fuck with us. Or probably now that the show's back, deliberately not talk about us. How funny is that going to be when they deliberately don't say a word about Cageside? You'll know why now, people, because I actually sorry. I told the secrets. My bad. I know I wasn't supposed to say, but there you fucking go. Someone is at my door.
The cops have come for Geno. They've come to take him away.
I know. You talk for a minute. Let me mute this because I think it's important.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to talk about now. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, the thing. With with what Geno was just saying. I think the what is it? Is it Talladega Nights or whatever? Where they say I said no disrespect, and then they think that means they can say whatever the fuck they want. I mean, I think you can't pose hypothetical questions and use that as cover for saying outrageous shit. But I mean, I do think obviously for some personal reasons, Geno gets pretty worked up about this stuff. I don't think it's and I think this is true of us too. I mean, there's not we're a small pond, and it's not.
What do you mean? How are we small? We're not small. We get a lot of hits.
Well, we get a lot of hits, but we're not. We're not fucking. I don't know. I mean, it's not like there are 700,000 people hanging on every word's on this podcast or something. And I think the whole wrestling Twitter phenomenon, and everything is a very. It's not. Even if you go to like an indie show or a smart mark, quote unquote, like WWE show like the Raw after WrestleMania, there's still more people there who have no idea who you are on Twitter than there are who do.
And again,
or anything else, or the fact that there's anybody who's covering the coverage. I mean, most people don't care. They want to go and watch a fucking wrestling show. Maybe they like to hear a little rumor about something occasionally, but they're not. I mean, that's been something I've had to learn doing this job. I'm like, well, I can't cover this. Somebody else covered it an hour ago. No, most of the people in the world have no idea. It's still. And it's still going to be news to them.
And our site is unique and different to everything from other sites and different. So a lot of people come to Cageside, don't go to other places, and we get a lot of hits, enough hits that we can service our own readers. And again, and here's the other thing. I don't want this to like, oh, I'm bitter, I'm anything else. You can think what you want at this point. I'm bitter about the fact that first the lies, okay, certainly, and there is a personal, stake there, I guess, in some ways of like. I was viciously lied to for a super long time, and that sucks. But my whole thing is, and will always be, if you're do whatever you want. Go hang out with all your wrestling Twitter people. Wrestling Twitter has brought a lot of people together, a lot of people who have become good friends, great friends, allies. People have found love through that shit. Like people on Cageside even have found love. Like a good friend of mine, Julie, she met a dude named RJ through Cageside, and she was on Twitter even, and I was talking to her on Twitter, and she posted a photo, and she's talking about being single, and I was like, hey, dudes, like go snatch her up. She's like doing the suck it sign, and like little did I know, a dude saw that and was like, oh my God, I want to marry this chick, basically. And they're like totally in love. And she hit me up the other day and was like, I can never thank you enough. Like, this is amazing. He is everything I could ever want. That's all good and great things. Those are really good, great, wonderful things that feel good. That's awesome. My problem is when you do that kind of shit, when you try to suddenly act like you're some moral authority and you're the biggest fucking hypocrite because you've got all these skeletons in your closet that make you not the moral authority on this. And that's just the case. And you don't get to tell journalists that they don't know how to do their job when you're actively participating in the shit that you would bomb them for doing. You just don't. And what you do is actively damaging to other people. Your lies are actively hurtful to other people. And to never come clean on that fact that's the Trump shit, dude. That is what I encountered personally, and it's what people encounter and don't realize they're encountering professionally. And that's when it bugs me too. It's affecting it's not even about the personal part because I never brought that up. I never even went into that. I'm still not. This is just the purely professional part of this where it's you don't get to sit there and say, I'm just asking questions. Like I could do the same thing about some personal shit and act like it's just me asking questions. No, it's damaging. You don't get to say, do you think Sean was stealing when he put the tweet up? That's bullshit. You know what you're doing with that. It was confirmed to me what you were doing with that. I have proof of that, by the way. I'm not just going to say shit that I can't fucking... It's just... And again, it wraps to the bigger point, which is who will watch The Watchmen? Who are the people who are going to call them out? Because they've decided they're the authority on all the people in the wrestling media. Why? Just because they created a podcast and started saying they were? When the truth is they're friends with, and in some cases dating, people they cover? You serious with this shit? How you going to tell me my journalism isn't right when you're pulling shit like that? And no one's there to call them out. Well, called out. There you go.
There you go.
And you can't trust them to tell the truth ever. And you can't trust Trump to tell the truth ever. And that sucks. That's why it sucks. We didn't talk about Raw at all.
No, it's like I said, I feel like the wrestling media inside shit is very small potatoes, and
Super dumb.
yeah.
The only thing that's dumber than covering wrestling is covering people who cover wrestling. Raw. We did get a question.
How many people are still listening to this? 2? 3?
Brother, we did get a question. Someone was like, so I said, I asked for some questions, and they were like, someone said, who do you, who does Cageside hate the most of all our contributors?
Clear.
Huh?
I think that's clear.
I think we've made it obvious by now. Who does Cageside hate the most? So, hang on. Let me see exactly what it was.
I don't hate anybody. This isn't that serious. I'll throw that out there.
Oh man, yes you do.
No, I really don't hate. I say my
dude.
No, I
don't
want anybody around me, but that doesn't mean I hate them.
The guy said, "Can you rank CSL contributors from least hated to most hated, and why?" And I said, "As far as who our readers hate, or who I hate." And he said, "Mainly Geno, since he says he hates everyone." Up to you guys. All right, number 5, Canaanite. No, I'm kidding. I love everyone, man. I don't have any hatred for our contributors. I love our contributors. Everyone's great. Decker's a real.
We have 5 contributors.
Of course we do. We have you, me. Oh, not counting me. We have Sean Rudiger, Kyle Decker, Canaanite.
I thought he said CSL contributors, though. We haven't had that. Kyle's never been on CSL. No, I
think he means Cageside.
Oh.
We don't have 5 CSL contributors, but there's Tanya, Eddie Mack, Reverend Kane, guy named Jason. Yeah. You guys don't realize that's his full name. His name's Guy Jason. Middle name is named.
That's not true. That's a lie.
Completely true. Was there any part of Raw you wanted to get to before we?
Not even that funny. I don't know.
You don't know comedy.
I don't know comedy.
You don't know comedy.
What? That's the only question we got was rank the people you hate on staff.
Another one was who is going to be the first legitimate feud for Big Man McBigger Man. I thought it was Ellsworth.
Huh? Ellsworth Strowman?
Yeah, I thought that was his first real feud. Like he's already had a real feud.
That was a match. That wasn't a feud.
It was a couple. Had a couple.
Yeah. He had Sin Cara too. I think it's fucking Roman Reigns, WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. That's what I think it's going to be.
Do you think they'll go to a title match?
I think they're strapping the fucking rocket to him. I don't. I think Roman's going to end up being Universal Champ again pretty soon. So.
Are you? That's a good question actually, because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter at least come around to Braun. Like people are big fans of his. I've been on that fucking train since day one. Not that I'm like, get off my train. I'm welcoming everyone aboard this motherfucker, and we're gonna ride it till the wheels fall off. But are you jumping on it too? Like, are you also a big?
I think they should try to push him. I don't know if I haven't seen enough to decide whether or not I'm a fan. So far, he growls about scarves and throws dudes around. I'm in favor of throwing dudes around. I would like to see. Yeah, I mean, I want to like sort of know something about him other than the fact that he's a big dude that throws people around, or not. I mean, I guess that's fine. I don't know. I think it makes sense for them to try to build him into something else because he hasn't fucked up. I think a lot of what the pushback was originally was all the rumors that he was going to get a Taker match 2 months after he got called up. It's the same way that people revolt against, Roman, or now people are pissed about Charlotte because they feel like they've been pushed to something they didn't earn, whatever that means. So I don't think anybody was ever like, I hate Braun Strowman. They were worried he was going to get the Vince McMahon big man push without showing that he deserved it. And I think now the more exposure that he's getting, he's making the most about those opportunities.
But what does that mean?
And so I think more people are getting on board.
What does that mean, deserve it?
I don't know what deserves means, but I mean, I think for me, what deserves means is you got more exposure on TV and you did good things with it, which I think is what Braun's doing now. I mean, he's having longer matches. He's been involved in sort of the main event seat as part of the Survivor Series build. He's actually getting to talk a little bit. They're not my favorite promos. I don't think they're hilarious, but he's not like stumbling over his words. He's staying in his lane. That to me is deserves. Deserves isn't the right word, but just proving that you can handle the bigger spotlight before it's just given to you.
He's actually a really good talker, and I'm glad they're letting him talk a little bit more because did you listen to him with Austin? on
No, I
Austin's
don't
show.
listen to podcasts. No.
He's a smart guy. Yeah, you don't like podcasts.
I don't. Yeah.
He's a smart guy who speaks really well, and I think they have him talk with that like weird, like breathy, scream that he does. If they just let him kind of talk normal, like a Jericho or an Owens, I think it would go over better. But but he's very physically charismatic. Like he's got something to him, man. He moves really well. The beard, the look maybe is a little off. Like he does have to. He's got the weird face.
Well,
like
I mean,
him and Orton did the stare down. I was certain he was going to put his big beard in Orton's mouth.
They have
to. Be really awkward.
I mean, that's what I mean. Right now, I guess they're still. I mean, he had the little stare down with the Wyatts. Bray addressed him last night, so they're still sort of acting like he's a Wyatt family member, and maybe at some point they'll explain why he's not dead anymore.
No, I didn't. They drafted me to a new show, and I'm doing my thing. What are you talking about?
I think he's talented enough that, and it's not that I don't like podcasts; it's that I don't really have time for them, and it's just something that doesn't fit. Anyway, but I don't like some podcasts, but I think they need to give him a chance to develop his own thing and not just be, the Wyatt guy. Because I think he could be more. I would like to see him, show a little bit more personality. Give me a reason to hate him or cheer for him or whatever. I don't think he necessarily needs to be the Wyatt family knockoff look. I mean, he could have a shorter beard and it would be fine. I don't know.
Another good question that we got was, why is the creative team for SmackDown better than the creative team for Raw? Which was a good question for a couple reasons. Because one, it didn't say why Vince clearly doesn't have anything to do with SmackDown. Why is that? Like, it's actually asking a real question of how can the creative be so much better? My answer is it's not. You're being influenced by outside factors that you don't realize you're being influenced by. Here's something that came into my head last night. It was 8:30 Central. And suddenly, I don't even know why it hit me. I go, if this were SmackDown, we'd be getting to the main event and it'd be done in a half hour. And I would have the feeling of like, right on, good amount, good stuff. Looking forward to the main event. But with Raw, halfway home. And immediately, it didn't matter what was happening on the screen. It felt like, fucking hell, there's another hour and a half of this? I can't do this. I have a life. I have things to do. And the things I have to do are cover the very show I'm watching. Like, it's just too much. And like those kind of things affect you whether you realize it or not. It's not that the creative's that much better. The creative's essentially the same right now. The women can't get along on the Survivor Series team. Alexa got cheated out of a title. Becky cheated her way to victory without realizing it. So they're going to continue on with that. The tag teams are doing their thing. They did some qualifiers to make it onto the team. What else is there? And Ellsworth is following Dean Ambrose around. That's basically it. Oh, and Randy joined up with the Wyatt family. There's no creative genius there. There's no like super inspired story there. There's no groundbreaking, new, innovative way to go about television. It's the same basic shit. It's just presented in a far easier to digest way. It's not offensive. It's not like in your face offensive. And because you also probably watch Raw, which oftentimes is in your face offensive, it just makes it look like it's not. You don't have the same level of feeling for it either. I'm certain of that. It's not like there are no Roman Reigns guys on SmackDown. It's a bunch of guys who you feel basically good about, but even if you didn't, you wouldn't necessarily hate their guts. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I mean, like we've talked about, I think that the hour makes a huge difference. I think if SmackDown had to fill a third hour, you would see an immediate drop in quality. And in people's perception of the quality.
Yes, the perception would change immediately.
I personally believe that Vince McMahon and his creative teams on both have set out to, I think, was it Hollywood Chris Hall who wrote the thing about, moment-driven storytelling versus storyline? Yes. I think they've set out to try to create a different feel on both shows. And that's part of it. I mean, and being only 2 hours helps SmackDown feel like a tighter story-driven show, whereas Raw, even when they do have one storyline throughout the show, like where's the list or whatever, first of all, they fucked that up, but they have so much other time to fill. You got to change the ropes to purple and bring these guys in and do this and then have this. that it's never going to feel as cohesive as SmackDown does in being 2 hours. And I think they've done a pretty, like a marketing genius job of convincing the most hardcore fans that SmackDown is for them and that they should fight for it. I think part of that is having Daniel Bryan, who's always been an underrated talker and who's really sort of driven that point home that, like, hey, this show is for us, not for them.
Who's the champ?
And people have bought into it. They put the belt on AJ Styles.
Indie darling AJ Styles, yes.
Yep. So they've done a very savvy job of marketing.
It's a babyface show.
It's the show for the internet wrestling fan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was. I mean, that goes to what some of what we were talking about earlier. Is just remember that I love the Cageside community. It's great, but it's a subset of a larger community. You can go look at our like Facebook shit, and you'll see a lot of people who don't think that SmackDown is the greatest thing ever invented. They think AJ Styles is overrated. What we sort of believe and sort of talk about here is not always what is the perception of everybody. I don't know that SmackDown's ever going to beat Raw in terms of viewers because Raw is the flagship that's been around for longer. It's on Mondays. It's what people think of as wrestling.
Well, and think of these things too, and I think there are aspects of this that people don't consider and that they should. Essentially, like you said, let's break it down real quick. The commissioner is the pretty much the only universally loved McMahon, Shane, is the commissioner of the show. Mm-hmm. The general manager is one of the very few universally beloved baby faces of the past 5 years, Daniel Bryan. The champion is AJ Styles, an indie darling who gets huge pops, even though he's working heel right now, that everybody basically loves just because he does great work. And it's just good to see the guy finally reach the goal that he's at. He's the champion of the brand. The guy chasing him is Dean Ambrose, who's a babyface that everyone generally likes. They've got the Ellsworth story still working for him. Everyone loves that guy. The champion of the women's division is one of the very few universally beloved women on the damn roster, and Becky Lynch, that everyone loves. You know what I mean? Like they have even their play-by-play guy Morrow is like I don't see a whole. Well, I guess I've seen more criticism of him lately, but they don't have Cole. You know what I mean? And then they have Renee Young on the show, who everyone loves, and Talking Smack that everyone loves, and they don't have a Roman Reigns.
I think
look at Raw. Roman Reigns is one of their title holders, universally hated. Kevin Owens is a heel as their main champion. And they do good stuff, but he's still a heel. Stephanie McMahon. He doesn't get more derisive than that. Foley, people like him, but like just by association with Stephanie and what they do. I mean, I'm just saying the show itself.
But in Foley, you have like the embodiment of their going back to the Attitude Era instead of building new people versus Bryan, who is the new person that a certain type of fan feel like they personally are responsible for him getting pushed. Yeah. And he's the guy that WWE didn't want to push until we made him. So now he's the standard bearer for the show that WWE doesn't want to do well, but we're going to make it do well.
Yeah,
right. I mean, there are people who actually think that. Yeah, that they think that Vince doesn't want SmackDown to succeed. Of course he does. Yeah,
they've created that narrative, and and a lot of fans have bought that, and not just in the sense
of what they've done. They've transferred. They did this. Triple H did this with NXT. This was the We Are NXT and the Takeover is going to own WrestleMania. Yep. It's that mentality. They've taken that and they've put it on a bigger platform where they can make more money out of it.
Yep. If you create loyalty with your base customers, they will spread that. Like we just talked about, right? There are people, someone asked me, how do you make it in wrestling? I said, start a podcast and start talking shit about Dave Meltzer. People will start listening to you if you believe it. Like that's really all you need to do. But those are the kind of people who Triple H basically created loyalty within those people. He took everything he did. That's why he always does those photographs with the new people he signs, right? Mm-hmm. He brings in, La Sombra or who are the new people like Roderick Strong or he was doing it with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. All these people go, longtime independent guys who they'll never make it to WWE. Oh, well, now Triple H is the guy who created a whole new offshoot, even though he didn't. That's not true, right? But he took over and he starts doing all these things let's get a photo. And what he was doing with that was, it's not just about his ego, I don't think, but I do think it was partially for him and to get him into a certain place. But I think even that was strategic because he knows he's the leader and he's the guy that everyone would look to for NXT. Those two things are hand in hand now. Like when you think of Raw, you don't think of Triple H. When you think of SmackDown, you don't think of Triple H. But when you think of NXT, who's the first person you think of? Triple fucking H. And it's good feelings because Triple H is the guy who brought all these interesting dudes into the fold and all these interesting women. And he's the guy who main evented with the women's Iron Man match. He's the guy that did the Brooklyn stuff and all this stuff. He created that loyalty within the brand. And like you said, it's to the point that like people buy tickets to NXT house shows and they think they're like a member of the roster.
Yep.
Like it's like, we're going to go and have this great time and we're going to sing along to Shinsuke's theme, and it's going to like it's exempt from all the typical failings that you see or the perceptions that you see of failings on the main roster stuff. When that's not the case at all. NXT television, every time I've ever tuned in, it's kind of boring. Doesn't really catch me. I'm not really a big fan of many of the characters they've got right now. There's nothing really that's going on that's all that interesting to me, but there's such loyalty within the people who do watch it, the hardcore fans of it, that Triple H took, saw, and molded and just fed into, that you can't come into that circle and say bad things about NXT. Well, that's starting to change, I've noticed, and you can speak on that better than I can.
I think that goodwill has transferred to SmackDown. All the people who a year ago were like, NXT is the best, I'll fight you, they're now saying that about SmackDown.
Yeah, you can't come in and say something bad without being overwhelmed by the people who support it. Like, and that's what he was pushing. The idea that it will weed out the negative people who speak about it the way they do Raw. Like, it's a whole industry. Shitting on Raw is basically an industry. Like, you can make money doing that. I do. That's not why I do it.
But it's amazing that Triple H's transformation alone is amazing. I think did Swift right about this? I mean, like in the mid-aughts, he was the most hated man among wrestling fans.
On screen and off.
Ticker, he buried people. Now he's like the savior of in wrestling, if you ask anybody. So that's pretty amazing.
Like, he's the guy who gets – every time – for all the people who are like, Vince clearly doesn't run SmackDown, the first thing they think is Triple H must be in charge. Yeah. Like, that's really what people say. Like, if it's not Vince, they immediately try to give Trips credit. Yep. And maybe that's the case. And certainly from what we know, he does a lot of different things at WWE. He's worked his way up. He's
backstage at Raw, too. He
does run NXT.
If there's credit – as far as we know, if there's credit to be given for SmackDown – it's Ryan Ward, who was the head writer in NXT when everybody was jerking off over NXT. I think NXT still follows his formula. It's weird to me that wrestling fans are like, I have to have a favorite show. I don't know that. I mean, I guess that's a television show thing in general. I mean, I still watch. I don't keep up with it as much as I used to, but I still watch Lucha Underground. I still like what it has to offer. I like NXT. I like SmackDown. I like some of what Raw has to offer. I don't understand why I have to champion one of these shows above others, but that seems to be the way wrestling fans are.
You know what? Where did that start? Like, I think maybe is that from the ECW influence? Because Heyman,
I think so. Yeah, I mean,
and I think Heyman did that, and they didn't realize that's what he was doing. It was the same thing Triple H does now, where he championed like the idea that he created fans who. He made them feel like they were a part of something special, so that when they would go out into the world, they would chant for the brand. That's free promotion. He didn't have to pay for that. He's a smart businessman, and it sounds shitty to be, you're a mark or he was working you, but that was exactly the case. Like, Paul Heyman is one of the greatest workers in the history of the professional wrestling business for that exact reason. It's the little stuff we talk about, the psychology of the things he does on the shows, like the Goldberg chant and acting like it was getting to him. That encourages the chant itself, which then gets Goldberg more over because it encourages other people to chant. And whether you realize it or not, you end up playing into it. And then you feel like an affiliation, a connection with that. Like when you're in a crowd like that and you're all doing that, you're all together in support of one guy. And that's how you that's how you get guys over. That's how you make someone a fan of someone without that person ever really having to do all that much. That's what makes Heyman smart. That's what makes his promos worthwhile. Yeah, you might be tired of him, and we certainly are, but those are the things he does that are very valuable.
No, he's a smart businessman. I will not argue that.
And that's
at all.
What he did back then. To loop to that again, that's what he did back then with ECW. Was he's essentially created what Triple H, I guess, kind of stole the playbook with that, which was, and then people did that. They would chant NXT. You're chanting for a brand. What are you accomplishing here? You're promoting. It's free promotion.
And that's why Vince is the fucking genius, because he owns all of that. Yeah. So he doesn't care if you pick Team NXT or Team Raw or Team SmackDown. He's cashing the checks either way.
Every single time. He's the guy who gets paid no matter which brand you champion. You're not throwing anything in Vince's face, you know? I mean, it's someone in the comments. It's funny because I've actually taken that myself, and I've learned to be. I accept criticism so much better these days. Because, for a couple of reasons. I think one, growth on its own. I'm getting older, but also like I thought of that. Someone called me out today for having an agenda. We were joking about that. I'm an agenda-driven Raw review. I don't even know what the agenda is, but at the same time, it's like I kind of felt like I didn't really mind that much because he's in my thread. He's commenting on my post.
Yep.
He gave me that hit, which gave me traffic, which gets me paid, which, I'm going to go get lunch when I get off the show here, and that guy paid for it. Like, that sounds shitty. Like, I don't want to be a dick. I'm not trying to like, I'm better than you. I'm just saying, like, I don't mind if you're here criticizing me on Cageside because you're here on Cageside.
Yep.
I did my job. I got you here, So it's the same basic thing. So I don't know. It's and not to tell you how to enjoy your stuff. If that's what you enjoy, that's great. But don't think that you're like, you're getting over on Vince. You're not.
Right. That's what I was saying last night. If you enjoy watching SmackDown more, thinking that you are rooting for it and that your support of it is going to change the wrestling business, that's fantastic. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I don't think that's true, though. I think you are contributing to Vince McMahon's bottom line, and that he is going to continue to produce shows the way he continues to produce shows. Maybe this is an innovation where Triple H has gotten in his ear and said, let's differentiate them a little bit, and then we can, get people more invested in each one, or different people invested in different ones. But it's not that he's going to all of a sudden, like, fucking, I don't know, make Johnny Gargano the Universal Champ tomorrow or something. I mean, that's not going to happen.
But you know what? Those people do take credit, though. Kevin Owens is the Universal Champion. I think. Do you think those people take credit for that? Do you think they think that it's some sort of like, the brand and how they treated him in NXT and the way he was received there translated enough, or even the women, right? Like the way Charlotte, Vince was in San Jose, I guess, for the Charlotte Sasha Banks match at the house show. Remember, it was a house show. It wasn't even a takeover before WrestleMania 31. And that match tore the fucking house down, and Vince saw it, and it was one of those, click moments where the light bulb went off over his head, and it's like, okay, so do you think that they deserve credit? Are we kind of underselling that?
I think it plays a role. Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of factors in it. I'm not saying.
There's influence there, certainly.
There's some influence there, and I think it would. If SmackDown, the better it does, then I think what it's going to do is it's going to keep SmackDown that way. So if that's your goal, is to make sure SmackDown continues to be this kind of show, then it's probably a worthwhile goal. But to think that it's like going to change Raw or something, I think is a little.
And I think the main point, and the main point really is, again, I'm not going to tell you how to enjoy stuff, but I will be the guy who breaks the news to you that if you think you're getting over on Vince McMahon because you're cheering for one of his brands over the other, the opposite is true. He's getting over on you,
And I just don't, me personally, as a fan, I don't understand. I can watch all of these shows and enjoy different parts of them without feeling like I have to get into an argument with somebody about why one is somehow like objectively superior to another one. I don't get that personally.
Support the wrestler playing the character, not the corporate brand pushing it.
Yeah.
Fuck corporate. That's the problem with Survivor Series. Yeah, it's like Team Raw, Team SmackDown. It's the McMahons. It's the corporate machine, like trying to, like having an internal conflict for fun. It's the we talked about this a little bit on Twitter and the orifices last night. It's like all of the feuds are just like people bickering for reasons we don't know why, and that's what wrestling is, right? That's what UFC is. You want to see these guys; they're going to talk trash because they want to prove they're better, or gals. But with WWE, I don't even feel like they're doing it to prove who's better. They're just doing it because they're people I don't think I would want to spend time with. They're all just different kinds of annoying people. But it doesn't work in WWE because it's not legitimate competition. That makes sense in UFC.
Because they don't treat it like it matters either.
It's true.
They could convince you. They could if they don't. They don't act like. They control the fiction. They could tell us anything. And they don't. They choose to tell us that brand superiority is the most important thing. What does that even mean?
Yeah, they like you said. Which you tweeted.
Bray wants to watch the world burn, but not before Team SmackDown wins.
He's wearing a blue SmackDown shirt. Why do you give a fuck about any of this? I tweeted the night with Sean saying Bray Wyatt cares a lot about brand supremacy.
There is no character in wrestling history that has been handled worse than Bray Wyatt. He's an anarchist who really wants to win for Team Blue. What the fuck?
Everything is not all right, but Team SmackDown, baby. We're going to do it, baby. Like, and
he turns into Heath Slater as soon as you give him a blue T-shirt.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's so good. Yeah, but plus, like, even you could imagine literally anything in your life. Literally anything. Most of you who are listening to this are probably at work and fucking off on your lunch break or like at a desk or some shit. Why did you get up and go to work today? So you can make money, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if you don't, you'll get fired and you won't be able to make money. You won't be able to live. So every day you get up and go to work. The decision you make, I have to get up and go to work so that I can make money, so that I can live. And it's a really big fucking deal if that doesn't happen. Like that little thing right there teaches WWE all it needs to know. I have to win this match or really bad shit's going to happen. Or also really good things are going to happen, right? Like if I work really hard at my job, I'm going to get fucking promoted and I will do the thing that I've set out to do for all this time. Like those are good stories and they can tell those stories. The dude in the comment calling me out, his thing was to tell me that there are stakes involved. Because I said there's no stakes in any of these Survivor Series matches.
Just blow up the microphone. Is anybody else? Is anyone with me?
Okay, are you, Sean?
What the hell are you?
Can you hear me, Sean?
What? Nope,
I can hear you, Sean.
Please enjoy my musical stylings if I'm still on the air. And
you are still on the air.
Wow, we have 8 whole people who've commented on this. This is not.
Sean. Sean.
All right. Well, I'm going to assume that no one can hear me, and
Sean.
But it can.
Sean.
I hope you enjoyed this very special episode of Cageside Live.
I'm fucking.
Please join us again next week when it'll be almost Thanksgiving. And I don't know what the fuck will happen then either. Bye!